The protagonist is a professor living in England, an expert in the study of the cultures of remote tribes in the forests of Amazonia. For simplicity, we will refer to him as the professor. One day, another academic rival professor visits him unexpectedly. These two men have a contentious history and harbor mutual dislike. For the purpose of this story, we will call the visitor the rival professor. The rival professor arrives with an unusual request. He needs a rare and elusive text known as the Black Book. In the past, the rival professor had done everything in his power to discredit the professor's work. Yet now, in a surprising turn of events, he offers to publicly apologize and acknowledge the validity of the professor's studies in a prestigious scientific journal, but only if the professor helps him locate the Black Book. After making his proposition, the rival professor leaves. Intrigued and perhaps tempted by the offer, the professor begins his search. He contacts friends and colleagues who specialize in antique books, making calls and writing letters. Finally, his efforts pay off. He acquires the elusive text. He summons the rival professor to his home to hand over the book. The rival arrives and eagerly devours its contents. Within its pages, he discovers what he had been seeking, a description of an ancient temple in the South America. The temple, constructed by a long-lost civilization, is said to house an underground chamber containing a mummy of a high priest and, according to legend, a vast treasure. The rival professor, convinced the treasure is a cache of gold, expresses his gratitude and informs the professor that he plans to depart for South America the next day. After the rival professor leaves, the professor reads the Black Book himself. He soon realizes that pursuing the ancient temple could be perilous. The following day, he attempts to dissuade his rival from embarking on the journey. But he is too late. The rival professor had already left. Months pass. One day, the professor receives a phone call from his rival, who has returned from South America, and invites him to his home. Curious, the professor accepts the invitation. Upon arrival, he learns of the rival's professor's harrowing expedition. The rival succeeded in locating the temple and accessing the underground chamber. But there was no treasure, only a strange, eerie atmosphere. Worse, when leaving the chamber, the rival neglected to close its heavy door, unwittingly unleashing a creature that had been sealed inside for centuries. The rival is convinced that this entity is the ancient god of the temple, and now it is pursuing him. As they speak, the two professors hear a strange noise coming from the roof of the house. Alarmed, they separate to investigate. Moments later, the professor discovers the lifeless a lifeless body of his arrival in another room. His head had been crushed, clearly the work of an immensely powerful force.